tightened my grip on Emily's hand as we stepped into the small chapel, the kind no one would ever notice. I tried to steady my racing heart, but my mind refused to calm. "Are you sure about this?" I whispered, leaning close to her ear. Emily smiled, her eyes shining even in the dim light. "I've never been more sure of anything." Her words should have eased me, but the fear gnawed at me. My father's voice echoed in my head, angry, controlling, unforgiving. Marrying Emily meant I was abandoning everything he expected of me. Everything Luke expected too. I swallowed hard. I don't want to lose everyone. "You haven't lost me," she said softly, brushing a loose strand of hair behind my ear. "We have each other." The minister cleared his throat. "Do you, James, take Emily to be your lawfully wedded wife?" "Yes," I said before my mind could betray me. "And do you, Emily, take James?" "Yes," she replied, her voice unwavering. It was over. A small sigh of relief escaped me, but it was short-lived. My phone vibrated violently in my pocket. I pulled it out, dread curling in my stomach. Messages. A storm of them. "Dad, James? What have you done? Get home now. We need to talk. Luke, are you insane? You can't just... I thought we were friends. Brother, disgrace. This family doesn't tolerate this. Pack your things." I stared at the screen, my hands trembling. Emily leaned against me, calm and steady. "Do you want to check?" she asked. I have to," I said, tapping the first message from Dad. His words hit like a hammer. "Get home now. This isn't just about you, it's about the family." I took a deep breath, ignoring the lump forming in my throat. "He's furious," I muttered. Emily squeezed my hand. "We knew this would happen. But we're together, right? That's what matters." I nodded, though a pit of guilt lingered in my stomach. I wanted to reply, to defend myself, but my fingers hovered over the keyboard. Luke's message scrolled endlessly, a mix of disbelief and hurt. "You're my best friend," one line read. "How could you betray me like this?" I wanted to shout back, to argue, but the words died in my throat. Betrayal. That was the word I'd been living under my family's roof my entire life, and now it was turning back on me in a new form. "James," Emily whispered, sensing my turmoil. "Ignore them for now. Focus on us. This day is ours." Her calm presence anchored me, but the reality of what awaited outside these walls was unavoidable. I knew my father wouldn't just be angry, he'd try to ruin everything. My brother would likely pick up the fight, and Luke? I didn't know where his loyalties would fall next. We stepped out of the chapel, hand in hand, into the cool evening air. I could feel the weight of their judgment pressing down on me even though we were alone. I glanced at Emily. "I don't regret this," I said, voice low but firm. I wish it didn't have to hurt so much." She smiled, and I felt a small spark of hope. "It will hurt, but it will also make us stronger." Our friend, Marcus, who had stood silently behind us during the ceremony, clapped me on the shoulder. "You did it, man. Don't let anyone take this away from you. Not your dad, not your brother, not even Luke." I forced a smile, trying to mask the turmoil inside. "Thanks," I muttered. "I just hope I'm ready for the storm waiting for us." Emily nudged me gently. "We'll face it together. No one can take this away from us. Not ever." Her words gave me courage, though fear lingered like a shadow. I sent one last glance at my phone, ignoring the messages, and shoved it into my pocket. Marcus grinned. "You two ready for a little celebration? I know a place, quiet, nobody will notice." I nodded, letting the tension in my shoulders ease slightly. Yeah, let's do that." As we walked, I couldn't help but feel the weight of the battle ahead. Dad's wrath, Luke's confusion, my family's judgment, it was all waiting. But I also felt Emily's hand in mine, warm and unshakable, and that was enough for now. For the first time in years, I was doing something truly for myself. Something no one else could control. And even if the world came crashing down, I'd face it with her by my side. I inhaled deeply. "Let them come," I whispered under my breath. "Let them all come. I'm not afraid anymore." I never imagined leaving my home would feel this empty. My father's words kept ringing in my ears. "Disgrace. You've ruined everything." I remember the sharpness in his tone, the finality in his eyes. No reasoning, no compromise, just judgment. I sank onto the edge of our tiny apartment bed, Emily beside me. "He's done with me," I muttered, my voice hoarse. Emily reached over, placing her hand over mine. "He's angry. That's all. It doesn't mean you're wrong." "I don't know if you understand," I snapped, though I hated the edge in my own voice. "He's cut me off. Mom won't even look at me. Luke, my best friend, won't talk to me. It's like I don't exist to them anymore. Emily's eyes softened. Then let them. We exist. We have each other. Isn't that what matters? I wanted to believe her, but the ache in my chest told me otherwise. I should have expected this, I guess. But it still hurts. She squeezed my hand. Of course it does. You're human. But now you're free. Free? I laughed bitterly. You call this freedom? I have nothing. No support, no family, no one to rely on. How am I supposed to start? I'm right here, she said firmly. We'll figure it out together. You're not alone. I looked at her, my heart torn between love and despair. I'm scared, Emily. What if I fail? Then we fail together. But I don't think we will. Her confidence was like a shield, and for the first time since leaving home, I felt a flicker of hope. My phone buzzed again. Messages from Dad, my brother, even Luke, who I expected at least a sliver of understanding from. None came. Only insults, ultimatums, and silence. Emily noticed my expression. Don't check them. I can't help it, I admitted. My fingers trembled as I opened the first message from Luke. James, I can't believe you. You betrayed me. You betrayed all of us. Don't expect me to call you again. I stared at the words, feeling the sting of someone I trusted turning away. He's done with me, I muttered. Emily shook her head. You're not done. Don't let their anger define you. I leaned back, exhausted, and felt a quiet knock on the door. Who is it? I called. Mrs. Carter, came the gentle voice of my old neighbor, who had always looked out for me when I was a kid. I heard about everything. I wanted to make sure you're okay. I opened the door to see her holding a small bag of food and a kind smile. You didn't have to, Mrs. Carter. I wanted to, she said softly. You and Emily, you're doing the right thing. Don't let their anger make you doubt that. Emily smiled gratefully. Thank you so much. Mrs. Carter looked at me. James, I know it feels impossible now, but I've seen people rise from worse. Just keep believing in yourselves. Her words were a balm, but the wound was deep. I closed the door slowly, leaning against it. It's just, they're my family, I said almost to myself. I know, Emily whispered, wrapping her arms around me. But family isn't always who we're born into. Sometimes it's who stands by us when everyone else turns away. Her words struck me harder than any insult my father had hurled. You're right, I said, voice cracking. I don't know what I'd do without you. You'll never have to find out, she said with a soft laugh, though her eyes glistened. We're in this together, James. Every step. I nodded, letting the tears I had been holding back finally fall. I guess. I always thought they'd understand. That Luke would. I don't know, maybe just be mad, but still my friend. Emily held me tighter. He's human. He'll realize eventually. Or he won't. Either way, you have to keep moving forward. Don't let their choices stop you. I drew in a shaky breath, feeling the mix of fear and determination. Okay, I said finally. We'll start from nothing. We'll figure it out. But it still hurts. I know it does, she said. And it's okay to hurt. Just don't let it paralyze you. You're stronger than you think. I thought about the life I had left behind, the house, the wealth, the expectations, all gone. It was terrifying. But I also felt the strange thrill of independence, raw and untested. I'll do it, I said. For us. Emily smiled, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead. That's the spirit. Step by step, James. We'll make it. I nodded, feeling a fragile spark of hope ignite. We'll survive this, I said. Even if they never forgive me. Even if Luke never speaks to me again. We'll make our own path. And maybe, she said softly, one day they'll see what we've built. But until then we focus on us. I smiled weakly, feeling the tension in my shoulders ease slightly. Yeah, us. Mrs. Carter's words lingered in my mind, her quiet faith in me a reminder that not all support came from family. Emily's hand in mine, warm and steady, was the anchor I needed. And though the betrayal still stung, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, control over my own destiny. I took a deep breath. Tomorrow, I said, voice low but firm, we start building something new. Something real. No one else's expectations, no one else's anger, just us. Emily nodded, her smile calm and unwavering. I'll be right here. Every step. And for the first time since leaving home, I believed it. I rubbed my eyes for what felt like the 100th time that night. Emily was still at the table, going over numbers with that calm patience that I could never match. James, she said, glancing at me, you need to rest. You won't solve anything by staying up like this. I can't sleep, I muttered, frustration creeping into my voice. Every time I close my eyes I think about Dad, Luke, everyone who turned their back. I can't just forget it. Emily sighed but didn't argue. You won't forget. But you need to survive first. We start small, remember? One step at a time. I know, I said, running my hands through my hair. It's just humiliating. We don't even have an office, let alone clients. Every pitch I try to make feels like a joke. You're not a joke, Emily said firmly. You have ideas, talent, drive. That's more than most people have. Marcus believes in you too. I froze at the name. Marcus. Our first meeting had been unusual. I remember walking into that cluttered little office thinking I'd be ignored, maybe even laughed at. Instead, Marcus leaned back in his chair, studying me like he could see every fear I was hiding. So, he said, his voice calm, you've been burned by people who should have had your back? I nodded, startled at how accurately he had summed it up. Yeah, my family, my friends, even Luke. They all left. Marcus leaned forward. Good. That means you're awake. Most people get comfortable. They let betrayal crush them. You're still standing. That counts for something. I blinked, unsure what to say. But, how do I even start? Patience. Strategy. Resilience, he said, almost like chanting it. You don't build an empire in a day. You survive the first storm, then the second, then the third. Each one makes you stronger. You'll see your family one day and they'll see what you've become. I felt a spark in my chest. You think I can really? I know you can, Marcus interrupted with a sharp smile. But you'll need to stop worrying about their approval. Worry about your own success. Every late night, every embarrassing pitch, every setback, it's all training. I nodded slowly, the weight of his words settling in. Training? Yeah. I guess I can't let it break me. Not now. Emily watched me, her hand resting on mine. And I'm not going anywhere. You have me. We're building this together, remember? I know, I said, trying to smile. But the exhaustion in my chest was real. It's just hard. Every call I make, every client I meet, I feel like they're judging me. Like they know I'm starting from nothing. Good, Marcus had said the first time I explained my fear. Let them judge. They'll learn quickly that you're not nothing. You're someone who refuses to quit. And he was right. The first few weeks were brutal. I remember one meeting where a potential client laughed at our proposal. This is adorable, he said, smirking. You're serious? I wanted to shout, to walk out, to give up entirely. But Emily nudged me. You're not done yet, she whispered. Prove them wrong. So I did. I went back, revised our pitch, stayed up nights perfecting every detail, and when I returned, the same client nodded, impressed. All right, he said, shaking my hand. Let's try this. I felt a thrill I hadn't felt in years. See, Emily said, her eyes gleaming. This is just the beginning. And I began plotting. Quietly in my mind. One day my family would see me, not just surviving but thriving. I'd show them that their rejection couldn't stop me. Luke's betrayal would be remembered, but it wouldn't define me. I still felt anger though. Nights when I lay awake I whispered, you'll see. Every single one of you. You'll see. Marcus noticed it too. Anger's fuel, he said during one of our late-night strategy sessions. Don't let it consume you, but don't pretend it isn't there. Use it. And I did. Every failure, every humiliation became fuel. I learned patience, grit, and the art of strategy. I learned that small wins could snowball into bigger ones, that every insult or rejection was an opportunity to grow stronger. Emily sometimes worried about me. James, don't lose yourself in revenge, she warned. Focus on what matters. Us, our future. I won't, I promised. But I can't ignore what they did. It's motivating. Not just for revenge but for proof. Proof that I can survive, thrive, and surpass everything they ever expected. Some nights, I'd sit at the tiny table in our apartment, staring at spreadsheets, murmuring to myself. Step by step, one day they'll see. One day. Emily would glance up, smiling. You're already stronger than you think. And somehow she was right. The fear, the humiliation, the sleepless nights, they were building me, shaping me. The betrayal that once crushed me now sparked determination. I leaned back in my chair one evening, rubbing my temples. It's rough, I admitted. Emily chuckled softly. Nothing worth building is easy, James. Remember that. And you have Marcus guiding you, me supporting you, you're not alone. I smiled, finally feeling a flicker of confidence. Not alone, I echoed. And one day they'll all see what we've built. I promise. I looked out the window at the city lights, imagining the empire we would create, and for the first time in weeks I didn't feel powerless. I had nothing, but I had everything I needed to start. I walked into the conference room, excitement buzzing in my chest. Our business had finally started gaining traction, and today we were pitching to a mid-sized company that could take us to the next level. I glanced at Emily, who gave me a reassuring nod. "Ready?" she whispered. "As ready as I'll ever be," I replied, trying to hide the nerves. The door opened and I froze. Daniel. Childhood rival, the one who always smirked when my father praised me or when I got attention at school. He was standing there, sharply dressed, leaning against the wall with that smug expression I hated. "James," he said, voice smooth but sharp. Well, look who's trying to play in the big leagues." I clenched my fists under the table. "Daniel," I said slowly, "I didn't expect to see you here." "I could say the same," he replied, smirking. "I'm the director here now. Things have changed since school, haven't they?" Emily nudged my arm lightly. "Focus," she whispered. I took a deep breath. "Right. We're here to talk business, not the past." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Business, sure. But don't think your little startup intimidates me. I've seen plenty like you, ambitious, desperate, and eventually, broke." I felt a hot surge of anger, but I forced myself to stay calm. "We're confident in our proposal. I think you'll find it interesting." He chuckled softly. "Confidence. That's cute. Confidence doesn't pay the bills though, does it?" I ground my teeth but pressed on. "It's a start. We're growing fast and we have a strong team." Emily leaned in and added, "And we have a vision. Something bigger than numbers on a page." Daniel's smirk faltered slightly, replaced by a calculating glance. "Vision. I've always admired that in you, James. Too bad you wasted it chasing your family's shadow instead of real opportunity." I felt my stomach twist. That was it, the jab I'd feared all these years. The reminder that I had been powerless, that my family's influence had always overshadowed me. "Daniel," I said through gritted teeth, "we're not defined by our past. And I'm not here to compete with you personally. I'm here to grow just like everyone else." He tilted his head. "Of course, grow. But isn't there a part of you that still wants revenge? To show them all you were right, they were wrong?" Emily frowned, giving me a sharp look. "James, maybe we shouldn't talk about this now. It's the wrong energy." I nodded, though inside I felt the familiar pull, anger, pride, desire to prove myself. I'm focused. On the business." Daniel smiled, almost kindly this time. "Good. I like focus. Just don't let it turn into obsession. It can blind you." I wanted to argue, to tell him I wasn't blind, but his words lingered, echoing Emily's quiet concerns. Was I building something real or just trying to humiliate my family through success? After the meeting, we walked out together. Emily grabbed my hand. "You were tense," she said. "I was," I admitted. "Daniel, he just brings back everything I've tried to leave behind." She stopped and looked at me, eyes serious. "James, listen to me. I get it. You want to prove yourself, prove them wrong. But don't let it consume you. Don't let revenge become the reason you do anything." I swallowed hard, guilt gnawing at me. "But it's there, Emily. Every time I think about him, about Dad. I feel it. I want to succeed so badly that they'll regret ever doubting me." She sighed, wrapping her arms around me. "And you will succeed. But it needs to be for you, not to hurt them. Otherwise, it'll eat you alive." I looked at her, feeling a storm of emotions. Love, frustration, determination, guilt. I know. It's just hard to separate what I want from what they've done to me." "I get that," she whispered. "But maybe start thinking about what we want. Our life. Not just proving them wrong." I nodded slowly, letting her words sink in. "You're right. I can't let Daniel or Dad control my mind anymore. But it's tempting to use this to show them." Emily smiled faintly. "Tempting, yes. But don't fall into it. Focus on growth, on us. Everything else will follow." I felt a flicker of clarity. She was right. My ambition could be fueled by revenge, but it had to be tempered by reason, by love, by purpose. "Okay," I said finally. "We focus on the business. Real growth. Real success. Not just getting back at them." Emily nodded, squeezing my hand. "That's the James the first married. The one who doesn't let anger blind him." I smiled faintly, still feeling the pull of old wounds but letting it go for now. "Thanks," I whispered. "I don't know what I'd do without you." "You'll never have to find out," she replied, her voice firm but gentle. As we walked away from the office, I glanced back at Daniel through the glass door. His expression was unreadable, but I knew this wasn't the last time our paths would cross. And I knew deep down that my success would one day prove more than just skill, it would prove resilience, determination, and the strength Emily and I had built together. But for now, I had to survive this encounter, keep my focus, and remember why I was really doing this. For us. I couldn't believe it when the call came through. My hands were shaking as I picked up the phone. "Hello," I said, barely recognizing my own voice. "James?" The voice was cheerful, professional. "This is Robert from Silvertech. We reviewed your proposal and we're ready to move forward. We want your team to handle our upcoming project." I felt my chest tighten, a rush of adrenaline I hadn't felt in years. You're serious?" "Absolutely. We're impressed by your strategy and vision. When can we meet to discuss the details?" I hung up and stared at Emily, who had been hovering nearby with an expectant look. We got it," I said, voice barely a whisper. She smiled, eyes wide. "James, that's amazing. I knew you could do it." I laughed nervously, pacing the small living room. "I can't believe it. After all the late nights, all the pitches that went nowhere, this is the first one that actually matters." Emily grabbed my hands. "And it's just the beginning. This is proof we can make it. Together." I nodded, letting the wave of relief wash over me. But even as joy filled me, a tiny spark of bitterness flickered. I knew my father would see this eventually. He'd dismiss it, minimize it, or worse, mock it. I could feel a quiet thrill at the thought, my first small victory under their radar. I picked up my phone and scrolled through notifications. Sure enough, a post from Emily celebrating our success had made its way to social media. A comment from Dad popped up almost immediately. "So your little startup finally got lucky. Don't let it go to your head, James. Real success isn't measured by small wins." I smirked. "Lucky, huh?" I muttered. "We'll see who's lucky in the end." Emily raised an eyebrow, her lips twitching into a half-smile. "James, don't get consumed by that. Celebrate first. Then think about strategy." I exhaled, letting myself enjoy the moment. "You're right. We need to celebrate. Quietly. No one else needs to know yet." Later that evening, we sat at our tiny kitchen table with a bottle of wine we had been saving for a special occasion. "To us," Emily said, raising her glass. "To us," I echoed, clinking glasses. "To surviving, thriving, and proving ourselves." She laughed softly. "Proving ourselves, yes. But remember, this isn't about revenge. Not yet." I nodded, though a thrill of vengeance simmered beneath the surface. "Of course. Just satisfaction. That's all for now." Our conversation was interrupted by a knock at the door. Jake, our office assistant, was holding a stack of paperwork. "Sorry to bother you guys, but I brought the latest invoices and client updates. Also, Sarah asked me to remind you about the new tax codes for our first big project." Emily waved him in. "Thank you, Jake. You're a lifesaver." Jake grinned, clearly proud to be involved. "Hey, it's a team effort. Besides, James, this project? Big opportunity. Big step." I looked at him, genuinely appreciating the loyalty. "I know, Jake. And I'm glad you're part of it. We're building something real here." Sarah, our accountant, joined shortly after, carrying her laptop. "James, Emily," she said, setting it down. "I've reviewed the finances. We're in a strong position to take Silvertech on, and I've identified a few other opportunities your family overlooked. These could really accelerate growth." I felt a thrill I hadn't felt in years, hope, excitement, a sense of control. "Show me," I said, leaning in. As she ran through the numbers, my mind wandered briefly. Dad, Luke, and the rest, they dismissed me, laughed at my ambitions, assumed I'd fail. But here I was, gaining momentum, learning to invest wisely, building something from nothing. Every small victory fueled the fire. Emily noticed the glint in my eye. "James, don't let your father's shadow guide your decisions. Focus on what we want, not what they think we should." I nodded, though the desire for quiet vindication lingered. "I know. But I won't deny it feels satisfying to finally see them realize I'm not powerless." She shook her head with a small smile. "You've grown so much. Just don't let that satisfaction turn into obsession." I leaned back, letting her words sink in. "You're right. For now I focus on growth. On strategy. On building something they never saw coming. And maybe, one day they'll understand what they missed." Sarah looked at me with a serious expression. "James, you're not just surviving this. You're creating a foundation for real power. But it'll take patience, discipline, and focus." "I know," I said, determination tightening in my chest. "And I'm ready. Every late night, every pitch, every setback, It all leads here. We've got momentum now and we're going to ride it. Emily squeezed my hand. And I'll be here. Every step. You're not alone in this, James. Remember that. I smiled at her, feeling the mix of hope, love, and the faint, simmering spark of vengeance that had driven me this far. Not alone, I echoed. And now, it's time to take the next step. Jake grinned. Next step, huh? Let's make it count. Sarah added, we have the numbers, the strategy, and the vision. It's up to you to lead it. I nodded, looking at each of them, at Emily, at the possibilities ahead. We'll lead it, I said firmly. Together. And one day, they'll all see what we've built. The excitement, the hope, and the quiet satisfaction filled me. Our empire had just begun. I hadn't expected to see Luke again. Not here, not now, not in the middle of a business meeting that was supposed to be about strategy and growth. But there he was, sitting across from me, sharply dressed, nodding along with my father's voice on the conference call. James, Luke said casually when he noticed me, good to see you. I hope you don't mind me stepping in to represent my family's interests here. I froze, staring at him. You're siding with them? My voice was tight, controlled, but the betrayal cut deeper than I expected. Luke shrugged. It's business, James. Don't take it personally. Dad called me. Said he wanted someone to ensure things stayed aligned. Aligned. I wanted to laugh, but the sound would have been bitter. Aligned? I repeated, shaking my head. You mean you're helping them undermine me? You're working against me, Luke? After everything. His expression didn't change. After everything? He echoed. I'm just doing my duty. You left, James. You chose your path. I'm choosing mine. My hands clenched into fists under the table. Your path? Your path is betrayal. I trusted you. I considered you my brother. And now, you're helping them, helping him, helping Dad, try to control me? Luke's lips tightened. Control you? James, maybe you're reading too much into it. I'm protecting the family. Protecting what's ours. I shook my head, disgust and disbelief twisting in my stomach. Family? You call this family? After everything they did? After they cut me off, humiliated me? And now you, my supposed friend, are their pawn. Emily reached over and touched my arm. James, don't lose focus. Stay calm. I looked at her, grateful for her presence, but the anger simmered like fire beneath my skin. I'm calm, I said through gritted teeth. I need to understand. Luke, how could you? After all the years, the trust, the loyalty? Was that meaningless to you? He hesitated just a fraction before answering. I thought I was doing the right thing. The safe thing. You've always been reckless, James. This is just how it has to be. Reckless. That word hit me harder than any insult could. Reckless. I snapped. Reckless is staying silent while my family destroyed my life. Reckless is turning your back on the people who believed in you. And you, I paused, taking a shaky breath, you're supposed to be my best friend. How does that make you feel? Luke didn't answer immediately. I could see the flicker of something in his eyes. Guilt? Maybe. But it was fleeting. I don't know, he admitted finally. I leaned forward, voice low and cutting. You should know. You should feel it. Because betrayal isn't something you can forget. Not when it's this deep. Emily whispered, James, focus. Don't let him shake you. I swallowed, trying to steady myself. My father's voice crackled over the speaker, smug and arrogant. James, your little venture is impressive for now, but don't forget who controls the bigger picture. You can't succeed without us. Part of me wanted to lash out, to scream at him, to savor his collapse when our success eclipsed his arrogance. Another part, a quieter part, felt pity. He was trapped in his pride, unable to admit mistakes. His empire was crumbling internally, yet he still wore that mask of control. I exhaled, keeping my voice measured. Dad, your empire isn't invincible. I hope someday you realize that. Look, I hope you realize what loyalty really means. Luke flinched at my words. I saw a flicker of shame, or maybe regret, before he masked it again. You're overreacting, James, he said, voice steady but lacking conviction. It's just business. I wanted to scream. Business? Is that what you call watching your so-called friend fight to survive while you support the people who ruined his life? Emily's hand squeezed mine. James, don't let this eat you. Look at what you've built. Look at us. I glanced at her and felt the tension in my chest ease slightly. She was right. Everything else, the betrayal, the past, Luke's choices, couldn't steal what we had built together. I drew in a slow breath. Fine, I said finally, voice firm. Call it business. But I will remember this, Luke. And I will succeed despite your choices. Despite Dad. Despite everything. He met my gaze for a moment, then looked away. We'll see, James. We'll see. The meeting ended, and I stepped out into the cool air with Emily by my side. I let out a long breath I hadn't realized I was holding. I can't believe him, I muttered. Emily shook her head. I know. But you survived this. You stayed calm. That's what matters. I ran a hand through my hair. Part of me wants him to suffer for this. To understand what betrayal feels like. But part of me knows that feeling won't make me stronger. It won't help us grow. That's right, she said softly. Focus on what you can control. Build your empire. They'll learn in time what loyalty really means. I nodded, letting her words sink in. You're right. I can't let anger cloud my decisions. But it's hard. It's so hard to see him siding with them after everything we went through. Emily kissed my temple. Then use that anger as fuel. Not as poison. Let it drive you to be better, smarter, stronger. Let it remind you why we started this journey in the first place. I took her hand and squeezed it tightly. Thank you, I whispered. For staying with me, for reminding me what really matters. She smiled faintly. Always. I'm not going anywhere, James. Not now, not ever. I looked out over the city skyline, a strange mix of emotions swirling inside me, anger, betrayal, pity, determination. I realized that true power wasn't revenge, not yet. It was resilience, strategy, and keeping the right people close. Emily was my anchor, my compass, the reminder of why I had to keep going. And Luke, he would learn eventually. But first I had to build the empire that no one, not him, not Dad, could touch. I remember the morning the stock ticker hit our company's public launch. My hands shook as I refreshed the screen for what felt like the 100th time. Emily, I said, my voice tight with excitement, we're live. We're actually live. She came over, leaning on my shoulder, eyes wide and sparkling. I see it, James. You did it. We did it. I laughed, a sound of disbelief. We did it. All the late nights, all the setbacks, it's finally paying off. Our phone buzzed relentlessly, calls from journalists, investors, even old acquaintances trying to reconnect. I ignored most of them, focusing instead on the dashboard showing our soaring numbers. Look at this, I said, pointing. The stock is climbing. People actually believe in us. People respect what we've built. Emily's hand rested on mine. You earned it, James. You didn't just survive, you thrived. I smiled, but my thoughts drifted. That he'd see this eventually. He'd hear the news and probably call, pretending he cared. Pretending he'd supported me all along. Part of me wanted to block him. Part of me wanted to hear the lie in his voice. Before I could dwell, Natasha, our lead strategist, walked in, brisk and precise as always. James, the IPO results are exceeding projections. I've already outlined the next quarter's expansion strategy. If we execute this right, we dominate the market. I grinned, leaning forward. Natasha, I don't know what I'd do without you. You're brilliant. Absolutely indispensable. She smirked, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Flattery won't get you a discount on my fees, James. Emily laughed softly. See? He's always had to learn the hard way. I glanced at her, warmth flooding through me. Always, Emily. And you've been here through all of it. From nothing to this. I couldn't have done it without you. She shook her head, eyes glistening. You did it because of your resilience. I just believed in you. The truth of that hit me harder than any praise. Every sleepless night, every humiliating pitch, every betrayal, it had all led to this. Real, undeniable achievement. My phone buzzed again. I glanced down. Caller ID, Dad. I froze, thumb hovering over the screen. Emily noticed. Do you want to take it? She asked gently. I guess I should, I said slowly, bracing myself. James, he said, voice smooth, calm, practiced. I saw the news. The IPO. Congratulations. You exceeded my expectations. Exceeded your expectations? I repeated, disbelief sharp in my tone. After you disowned me? After you tried to control me and destroy my life? He cleared his throat. I realize I may have been too harsh. Family, pride. I acted poorly. I'd like to reconcile. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Pride, anger, and lingering resentment warred inside me. Reconcile, after years of betrayal, lies, and abandonment? Is it really that simple for you? Emily squeezed my hand. You don't have to answer yet, James. Take a moment. I exhaled slowly. Dad, I've built something you never believed I could. I don't need your approval. I don't need your congratulations. I need honesty. Not a fake attempt at reconciliation. He hesitated, voice tight. I understand. I just... Save it, I interrupted. I'm done listening to excuses. I've got a company to run, investors to answer to, a life to live. And it's mine. Not yours. The line went quiet for a moment. Then he said, softly, almost defeated, I hope, one day, we can bridge the gap. I hung up, my chest tight. Emily rested her head on my shoulder. How do you feel? Vindicated, I admitted. And angry. And proud. Mostly proud. But that part of me, that wants him to understand, to see, it'll never happen. And I'm okay with that. Natasha leaned against the doorway, holding a stack of reports. James, enough reflection. We've got momentum. Expansion proposals, client meetings, investor calls. You're not done yet. I smiled at her, feeling a surge of energy. Natasha, you're right. Let's focus. This is just the beginning. Emily looked at me, eyes soft but firm. See? This is why we started. Not for him, not for anyone else. For us. Our life. Our empire. I nodded, gripping her hand. You're right. I almost forgot what truly matters. Natasha spoke up again. James, the team is ready. Jake and Sarah are prepped for next steps. If we execute, there's no stopping us. I leaned back in my chair, looking out the window at the skyline, feeling the weight of years lift slightly. No stopping us, I repeated. We've earned this. Every sleepless night, every insult, every betrayal, it brought us here. Emily smiled, brushing a hand over my cheek. And now, you finally see it. You've proven yourself, to everyone and to yourself. But most importantly, you've done it without losing who you are. I let out a long breath. I've done it with you. That's what matters. And I won't forget that. Natasha's voice cut in, practical and focused. James, while you reflect, remember, this is only step one. We've got acquisitions, strategic partnerships, market growth. Your decisions now shape the next decade. I straightened, resolve hardening in my chest. Then let's make the next decade ours. Not for them, not for Dad or Luke, not for anyone who doubted me. For us. For everyone who believed in me when no one else would. Emily squeezed my hand again. Exactly. And we'll face it together. I looked at her, at Natasha, at Jake and Sarah, who were quietly ready to support every step, and I felt it. The full weight of accomplishment, the intoxicating blend of pride, love, and quiet vengeance. My father's shadow still lingered, my past still whispered in my ear, but for the first time, it didn't control me. I had my empire, my team, my life. And no one, could take that away. I smiled, feeling the power of hard work, resilience, and loyalty. Let's rise, I said firmly. The empire isn't just built. It's thriving. And it's ours. I stood in the grand living room of the family estate, the air thick with tension. Emily stayed close behind me, her hand lightly resting on my arm. James, are you sure you want to do this now? She whispered. I nodded slowly, my jaw tight. I have to. For closure. For us. Dad looked up from his chair, his expression frozen between surprise and disbelief. James, what is this? Why are you here? I came to talk, I said evenly. Not just talk, actually. I came to let you see what we've built and to see if you understand what your actions caused. Luke shifted uneasily beside him. James, it's not what you think. You were a betrayer, I interrupted, my voice sharp but controlled. You sided with them instead of me, Luke. After everything, you chose them over your best friend. Over family loyalty. He swallowed hard, eyes darting away. I thought I was protecting everyone. I didn't realize. Protecting? I laughed softly, bitterly. By trying to control me? By standing with the people who ruined my life. Emily squeezed my hand. James, stay calm. I exhaled, letting the anger settle. I'm calm. You'll see that actions speak louder than words. Dad cleared his throat, voice stiff. James, surely we can put this behind us. You've done well. We can reconcile. Reconcile? I repeated, disbelief lacing my tone. Do you understand what that word means? You cut me off, humiliated me, threatened me. And now you want to act as if nothing happened. Mom's eyes were watery. James, we're sorry? Truly sorry. I looked at her, my heart twisting. Sorry doesn't erase years of betrayal. But yes, your apologies are noted. Luke finally met my gaze, shame evident now. James, You'll learn soon enough, I said softly, almost letting a smile slip. The investments you trusted, the business decisions you made without thinking, they're failing. Social circles you relied on are distancing. Karma has a way of catching up. Dad's face paled. What are you saying? I held up my phone, showing the latest reports. Look, your primary investors pulled out. Your luxury partners are backing away. And Luke, I glanced at him. You'll see what happens when you choose the wrong side. Emily whispered, James, it's happening exactly as you predicted. I nodded, eyes calm but piercing. Yes, and it's not me doing it. I didn't sabotage you. I just stayed focused on building something real. While you were busy underestimating me, everything you built on pride and arrogance began crumbling. Dad's voice trembled, though he tried to keep control. James, we didn't expect. You didn't expect resilience. You didn't expect strategy. You didn't expect patience, I said. You thought disowning me would stop me. You thought betrayal would destroy me. And yet, here I stand, stronger than ever. With Emily, my team, and an empire you can't touch. Luke's shoulders slumped. I misjudged everything. I see that now. I failed as a friend, James. Truly. I didn't respond immediately. I let him feel the weight of his actions. Actions speak louder than words, Luke. You'll have to live with your choices. I've already moved forward. I have to reckon with yours. Emily squeezed my hand again, and I let myself take a deep breath. And for all of you, this isn't to humiliate or punish. This is to show that integrity, patience, and focus win in the end. Karma takes its own course. Dad's voice was quieter now, humbled. James, I see that. We miscalculated. I was too proud, too stubborn. Yes, you were, I said softly. But I'm not here to rejoice in your downfall. I'm here to demonstrate that life rewards those who persevere, even when betrayed. That includes me. And Emily. Mom's lips trembled. We see it now. We failed you. Yes, I agreed. You did. And that failure has consequences. Your business decisions are faltering, your influence is waning. You'll feel it for a while. Luke's eyes glistened. James, can you ever forgive me? I shook my head slowly. Forgiveness takes time. But I've forgiven myself. That's what matters. You'll need to work on earning your own peace, Luke. Actions, not words, will show who you are now. Dad finally bowed his head, defeated. I underestimated you, James. I see it now. And I regret the way I treated you. I studied him quietly, letting him feel the humility that once would have been unthinkable. Regret is good. It shows growth. But remember, it doesn't undo the past. It just teaches you how to act better in the future. Emily rested her head lightly on my shoulder. James, you've done more than prove them wrong. You've proven to yourself what matters. Integrity, patience, love, and focus. Nothing else. I nodded, feeling a weight lift from my chest. Exactly. And watching karma unfold silently without my interference, that's the sweetest justice. Not cruelty, not revenge, just natural consequence. Luke muttered, barely audible, I never imagined it would come to this. I gave him a calm, almost distant smile. You imagined it exactly, Luke. You just thought you'd control the outcome. You didn't realize life has its own plans. Dad's gaze finally met mine. James, I understand more now than I ever did. I exhaled, releasing years of tension. Understand it, yes. But respect it too. That's what matters. Emily and I built a life, a company, and a future on what we could control: hard work, loyalty, and strategy. Not arrogance, not betrayal. Emily whispered softly, we did it, James. Truly. I smiled at her, the journey flashing through my mind, the betrayals, the heartbreak, the struggle, the victories. Yes, I said, voice full of quiet satisfaction. We did. And now, we can move forward, stronger than ever. And in that moment, as my family faced the consequences of their own choices, I realized that true triumph wasn't about humiliation or revenge. It was about building, surviving, and rising, patiently, ethically, and with Emily by my side. I sat in my office, the city lights casting a soft glow across the skyline. Emily leaned against the desk, sipping her tea. You've been quiet all evening, she said, eyes curious. I'm just thinking, I admitted. About everything. About how far we've come. She smiled, resting a hand on mine. We've come a long way, James. And you've handled it all with grace. I'm proud of you. I chuckled softly. Grace. That's not the word I'd have used a few years ago. Back then, I wanted revenge. I wanted everyone to pay for what they did. But now, it feels different. Stronger. More real. Emily tilted her head. Stronger how? Because I've realized that true power isn't in proving someone wrong or humiliating them, I said, looking out the window. It's in resilience, in love, in building something meaningful for yourself and the people who matter. It's in surviving betrayal and using it to grow, not just to hurt others. She nodded, a soft smile on her lips. That's the James the First know. The one who doesn't let anger define him. I took a deep breath. And we've done it, Emily. We built a life filled with purpose, happiness, and real achievement. Our empire, our team, the life we've created, none of that would have happened if I let bitterness rule me. Just then my phone buzzed. I glanced at it and saw a message from Luke. James, I know I don't deserve it, but I want to apologize. For everything. I see now what I lost and how wrong I was. I stared at the message, thumb hovering over the screen. Emily leaned closer. Do you want to reply? I nodded slowly. Yes, but carefully. I don't need to reopen old wounds, just acknowledge growth. I typed back, Luke, I appreciate your words. I won't forget the past, but I've moved forward. I hope you can learn from your mistakes and become a better person. Take care of yourself. Emily read it over my shoulder. Perfect. Thoughtful, firm, and mature. I exhaled, feeling a strange sense of relief. Even Luke's apology, even the recognition of his betrayal, didn't sting anymore. It was just part of the journey. Natasha walked in then, holding a folder. James, I've compiled the projections for the next expansion phase. Marcus also called today. He says congratulations on everything and reminded me to tell you he's proud of how far you've come. I smiled, warmth filling me. Thank you, Natasha. And thank Marcus too. We wouldn't be here without the guidance and support along the way. Emily squeezed my hand. See? You've surrounded yourself with people who matter. Not those who try to control or tear you down. That's true success. I nodded. Exactly. It's about who stands by you, not who tries to pull you under. I've learned that the hard way, but it's what makes this life meaningful. I leaned back, letting my mind wander briefly over the journey, the secret wedding, the betrayal, the sleepless nights building a business from nothing, the encounters with Daniel and Luke, the confrontations with my father, and the subtle unfolding of karma that finally set things right. Emily sat beside me, her head resting on my shoulder. Do you feel closure? She asked softly. I smiled faintly, feeling the weight of years lift slightly. I think I do. Not because they apologized or because they understand now, but because I finally stopped letting their actions dictate my life. I stopped giving them power over me. That's real closure. She kissed my temple. And we did it together. That's the important part. I nodded, heart full. Yes, together. And that's why we're standing here, strong, happy, and ready for the future. Nothing can take that from us. Emily looked up at me, eyes shining. The future, it's ours, James. Fully and completely. I grinned, feeling a warmth that no betrayal or setback could touch. It's ours. And we'll keep building it. One step at a time with the people who truly matter. A thought crossed my mind and I smiled quietly. Marcus, Natasha, Jake, Sarah. They had all played a role in this journey. Mentorship, guidance, loyalty, and intelligence. Their presence reminded me that success isn't just personal, it's shared with those who stand beside you. Emily squeezed my hand again. You've grown so much, James. From the boy who snuck away to marry me, to the man who built an empire and faced betrayal without losing his heart. I laughed softly, leaning back. I guess growth does come in unexpected ways. And I've learned that no amount of wealth or power is worth losing yourself or the people who matter. She smiled warmly. Exactly. And now you have both. You've gained respect, love, and true happiness. That's the real victory. I looked out the window, the city lights reflecting in her eyes and in mine. We've proven it, to ourselves, to the world, and quietly, to those who doubted us. But the proof isn't in their reaction. It's in what we've built, in who we've become. Emily leaned her head against mine. And that's enough. Truly enough. I exhaled, feeling a sense of peace wash over me. It is enough. And I think, for the first time, I'm ready to look ahead without bitterness, without obsession. Just hope, purpose, and love. She smiled softly. And I'll be right here, James. Every step. I reached for her hand, intertwining our fingers. Always. And now, we move forward together, stronger than ever. The journey had been long and painful, but the lessons, the victories, and the people who stood with us made every challenge worth it. As I stood there with Emily, surrounded by the quiet strength we had built, I realized that the true power wasn't in revenge. It was in resilience, love, and the courage to grow. And with that, I felt free.